Good evening, viewers. This is your anchor Kekrizanyo Solo. You're now watching Hornbill TV's Prime Time. First, the headlines. A majority of the judges on the U.S. Supreme Court on Friday seemed inclined to uphold a federal law that would impose a ban on the video sharing app TikTok in the U.S. after January 19th, the Chinese-owned parent company ByteDance divest from the platform. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Saturday stated that the Ukrainian security forces have captured 2 North Korean military personnel in the Kursk region amid the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. External Affairs Minister S.J. Shankar will represent the Indian government at the swearing-in ceremony of the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump as the 47th U.S. President. At least 16 people have died and over 12,000 structures have been damaged or destroyed in the wildfires raging across Los Angeles. Authorities have warned conditions will worsen in the coming days. Mount Ibu in North Maluku in Indonesia erupted on Saturday, spewing hot lava and releasing a column of smoke and ash for 4 kilometers, an official said. Those were the top headlines, and now for the news in details. A majority of the judges on the U.S. Supreme Court on Friday seemed inclined to uphold a federal law that would impose a ban on the video sharing app TikTok in the U.S. after January 19th if the Chinese-owned parent company ByteDance divests from the platform. According to ABC News report, TikTok versus Garland is the legal case that pits the social media platform against all 3 branches of the U.S. government, which have a similar view that the app poses a serious risk to the national security. During arguments, concerns regarding intelligence threat posed by China and potential future weaponization of the app appeared to override concerns about potential restrictions on free speech rights. During the hearing, according to the ABC News report, Chief Justice John Roberts asked the company's attorney, Noel Francisco, if the U.S. is supposed to ignore the fact that the ultimate parent of TikTok is doing intelligence work. Justice Brett Kavanaugh stated that concerns regarding foreign data collection on Americans were very strong and that there were legitimate fears that the data could be used to turn spies or blackmail people in the future. Justice Amy Coney Barrett appeared skeptical of the argument that law was silencing people of the U.S. Justice Samuel Alito said that the ban's consequences might not be drastic or necessarily long-lived. Justice Elena Kagan stated that constitutional protections for free speech were not applicable overseas. She said the law is only targeted at this foreign corporation that do not have First Amendment rights. Lawyers who represented the company and a group of TikTok creators said that the government could have created a law less restrictive on the speech of users by outlawing retention or transfer of data to foreign power, ABC News reported. At least 16 people have died and over 12,000 structures have been damaged or destroyed in the wildfires raging across Los Angeles. Authorities have warned that conditions will worsen in the coming days. The fire continued to disrupt daily life, causing school closures and cancelling entertainment, sports and community events. As the county's medical examiner announced on Saturday that at least 5 people have died in the Palisades fire and another 11 people were killed in Eaton fire. On Friday night, reports that the Palisades fire on the city's western edge was heading in a new direction prompted fresh evacuation orders for much of the Brentwood neighborhood and the foothills of the San Fernando Valley. High desert winds picked up on Saturday across parts of Los Angeles and Ventura counties and are expected to strengthen into the weekend, which could hinder firefighting efforts and strengthen the blaze. The Palisades and Eaton fires are among the most destructive in the state's history. So far, roughly 11% of the Palisades fire is contained, while 15% of the Eaton fire has been contained. As of Saturday evening, firefighters have made some progress containing several other fires, which includes the Kennett fire contained by 80%, the Hers fire is 76% contained, and the Lydia fire has been entirely contained. According to authorities, officials are expecting a strong north to northeast wind with low humidity levels. A red flag warning continues to be in effect for the areas encompassing the Palisades fire. Critical fire weather conditions are expected with strong Santa Ana winds through Wednesday. Heading on to the next news. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will represent the Indian government at the swearing-in ceremony of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump as the 47th U.S. President. He is set to attend the swearing-in ceremony at the invitation of the Trump-Vance Inaugural Committee, according to a Ministry of External Affairs press release. During the visit, Jaishankar will also have meetings with representatives of the incoming administration as well as some other dignitaries visiting the U.S. on that occasion. In a press release, the ministry said External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will represent the government of India at the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States of America. The ceremonial event is set to take place on January 20, approximately 2 weeks after Trump's Electoral College win, certified by the U.S. Congress. Earlier on January 6, Trump's election victory was certified ahead of his inauguration with no objections from any lawmakers as the tally of states was announced on the House floor. Donald Trump won 312 electoral votes, while Harris got 226 votes, a total that was confirmed during the certification on Monday. Marking the final steps in the election process before Trump returns back to White House on January 20, Republican lawmakers gave a standing ovation in the chamber when Harris announced Trump's victory, which was certified, The Hill reported. A bipartisan standing ovation broke out in the House chamber after Harris announced that the joint session of Congress was dissolved. In an unfortunate incident, a 10-month-old child in Assam has been diagnosed with the human HMPV virus, marking the state's first recorded case, according to officials. Superintendent of Assam Medical College and Hospital, 12thJAN Bhuyan, confirmed the infection, stating that a test was conducted on the child, which returned positive as of now. The HMPV virus was first identified in 2001. But this morning, he said that the authorities got a report of the child who had come here, who had cough and symptoms and had been diagnosed with the HMPV virus. The test was part of the routine, but the results came positive, he said. There is nothing to worry about. The child is perfectly fine and it is a 10-month-old child, said Bhuyan.
आज सुबह हम लोगों को एक रिपोर्ट मिला कि हम लोगों के यहाँ पे एक बच्चा आया हुआ था जो कॉमन कोल्ड से पीड़ित था। उनको मतलब उनके शरीर में HMPV वायरस की अवस्थिति डिटेक्ट हुआ था। दिस वाज जस्ट पार्ट ऑफ आवर रूटीन टेस्टिंग कि मतलब ऐसे बच्चे को हम लोग 2014 से ही टेस्ट करवा रहे हैं एंड ये इंटरेस्टिंगली पॉजिटिव आया, बट डरने की कोई बात नहीं है। बच्चा अभी संपूर्ण सुस्त है, वो खेल उठ रहा है। नाउ ही इज परफेक्टली ऑल राइट।
सर ये बच्चा कौन सा अंचल का?
ये 10 महीने का एक बच्चा है फ्रॉम लखीमपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट। हम लोग के यहाँ पे एडमिट
Over 40 people, including women and children, were killed in attacks by Myanmar's military in the western state of Rakhine this week, Al Jazeera reported, citing United Nations statement. The military government forces hit Kayuk Nimau, a village in Ramri Island Township, killing more than 40 people and destroying about 500 homes, the UN said in the statement late on Friday. The country has been plagued by violence since the military overthrew the elected government of Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi in 2021. The coup sparked mass protests, which eventually escalated into a widespread armed rebellion, claiming thousands of lives as per Al Jazeera. Women and children were among those who were killed in Rakhine, according to the statement, which was attributed to the UN resident and humanitarian coordinator in Myanmar. According to UN statement, fighting in Rakhine has recently escalated, with civilians paying the highest price of the conflict, adding that the civilians face extreme risk, acute food insecurity and a near-total collapse of critical public services. Following the attack, the government has denied the accusations of the Myanmar military committing atrocities against civilians, saying that it is trying to combat terrorists. The military has been struggling to fight opposition to its rule on multiple fronts around the country. Several areas have now fallen under the control of different rebel groups. According to Al Jazeera, the UN urged on Friday that all parties adhere to their obligations under international humanitarian law. We'll now take a short break. More news coming in. Stay tuned.
साइड देना।
कौन हो भाई आप लोग?
इस दीवार पे कितना डैम्प है यार, पिलर में भी फ्रैक्चर।
छत पे इतनी सारी क्रैक।
अरे ये क्या मजाक है भाई?
अरे मजाक नहीं, आपका घर हमारी फिल्म के लिए एकदम परफेक्ट है।
कौन सी फिल्म?
हॉरर फिल्म।
मैं तो नाम वाला सीमेंट ही लाया था,
पर वो किसी काम का नहीं निकला।
सीमेंट सिर्फ नाम वाला हो तो घर हॉरर स्टोरी बन सकता है, इसीलिए लाएं काम वाला सीमेंट। ब्लैक टाइगर सीमेंट का सुपर फाइन बॉन्ड और हाई कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेंथ बनाए घर का कोना कोना मजबूत।
सिर्फ वो हॉरर स्टोरी का क्या हुआ?
अरे भाई तुम्हारा नया घर इतना प्यारा है कि हमने हॉरर को लव स्टोरी में बदल दिया।
ब्लैक टाइगर सीमेंट, कमाल का काम, टाइगर है ना।
देवभूमि उत्तराखंड अब खेल भूमि बनने को है तैयार। पहली बार राष्ट्रीय खेलों के आयोजन से उत्तराखंड बनाएगा नई पहचान। 28 जनवरी से 14 फरवरी 2025 तक आयोजित होने वाले नेशनल गेम्स की तेजस्विनी मशाल और शुभंकर मौली देश भर के खेल प्रेमियों को लुभा रहा है। इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर को सफल बनाने के लिए राज्य में खेलों का बेहतरीन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तैयार किया गया है, जहां प्रदेश के खिलाड़ी जमकर पसीना बहा रहे हैं। 38वें राष्ट्रीय खेलों में एथलेटिक्स, हॉकी, साइकिलिंग जैसे 35 से ज्यादा खेलों में देश भर के करीब 10,000 खिलाड़ी अपना हुनर दिखाएंगे। राष्ट्रीय खेलों के आयोजन से उत्तराखंड की खेल प्रतिभाओं को एक नया मंच मिलेगा। प्रदेश में स्पोर्ट्स इकोसिस्टम तैयार होगा, जिससे खेलों के प्रति ज्यादा से ज्यादा युवाओं का रुझान बढ़ेगा। राष्ट्रीय खेलों से चमकेगा उत्तराखंड, खेलेगा उत्तराखंड, जीतेगा उत्तराखंड।
ब्लैक टाइगर सीमेंट, कमाल का काम, टाइगर है ना।
Welcome back. Heading on to the next news. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Saturday stated that the Ukrainian security forces have captured 2 North Korean military personnel in the Kursk region amid the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Taking to social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, Zelensky confirmed that the soldiers, despite being wounded, have been transported to Kyiv and are now in communication with the security service of Ukraine. The Ukrainian president said that its soldiers have captured North Korean military personnel in the Kursk region, and 2 soldiers, though wounded, survived and were transported to Kyiv, where they are now communicating with the security service of Ukraine. Russian forces and other North Korean military personnel usually execute their wounded to erase any evidence of North Korea's involvement in the war against Ukraine, he said. He expressed gratitude to the soldiers of Tactical Group Number 84 of the Special Operation Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, as well as paratroopers who captured these 2 individuals, he said. As prisoners of war, the 2 North Korean soldiers are receiving medical assistance, Zelensky stated, and further instructed the security service of Ukraine to allow journalists access to the prisoners. According to Ukrainian and Western assessment, Some 11,000 North Korean troops were deployed in the Kursk region, where Ukrainian forces occupy swaths of territory after conducting cross-border incursions back in August 2024. India's foreign exchange reserves continue to decline, extending their slump for over 3 months. India's forex reserve have slumped 13 out of the past 14 weeks, hitting about a 10-month low. In the week that ended on January 3rd, the country's foreign exchange kitty declined by USD 5.693 billion to USD 634.585. The latest data from the Reserve Bank of India showed the reserves has been failing and also falling ever since it touched an all-time high of USD 704.89 billion in September. Effectively, they are now over 10% lower than the peak. The reserves has been declining likely due to RBI intervention aimed at aggressively preventing a sharp depreciation of the rupee. The Indian rupee is now at its all-time low against the US dollar. The latest RBI data showed that India's foreign currency assets, also known as FCA, the largest component of forex reserve, stood at USD 545.480 billion. Gold reserve currently amount to USD 67.092 billion, with a USD 824 million jump last week, according to RBI data. Foreign exchange reserves or FX reserves are assets held by nation's central bank or monetary authority, primarily in reserve currencies such as the US dollar, with smaller portions in the euro, Japanese yen and pound sterling. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened a high-level meeting on Saturday evening to discuss the issue of Israeli hostages and missing person. The meeting included Defense Minister Israel Katz, top security officials and US negotiators from both the outgoing and incoming administrations. Following the meeting, Netanyahu instructed Mossad Director David Barnea, Shin Bet Director Ronan Bar and their team to travel to Doha. The delegations will work to advance negotiations for the release of Israeli hostages, according to updates. Heading on to the next news. Mount Ibu in North Maluku in Indonesia erupted on Saturday, spewing hot lava, releasing a column of smoke, ash for kilometers, officials said. The volcano, located at Halmahera Island, erupted at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Indonesia time, sending a tall flaming column soaring into the sky. The lava was spotted 2 kilometers away from the eruption center, Geological Agency head Muhammad Wafid said in a statement. The volcano is still at the second highest alert level. As of now, there has been no new evacuation order, but visitors and villagers have been told to vacate zone 4 to 5.5 kilometers from the peak. Ibu is one of Indonesia's most active volcanoes, erupting more than 2,000 times last year. More than 700,000 people lived in Halmahera Island as of 2022, according to official figures. The newly elected President of Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto, is to be the chief guest of the 76th Republic Day celebrations of India, as per sources. The visit by the Indonesian leader becomes significant as India and Indonesia are commemorating 75 years of diplomatic relations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Indonesian President Subianto held their first meeting on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Rio last year. During their meeting, the two leaders reaffirmed their commitment towards strengthening bilateral ties in the framework of the comprehensive strategic partnership. The leaders noted that had called for celebrating the occasion in a befitting manner as per the ministry's external affairs. In October last year, Indonesia's former Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto took oath as the 8th President of Indonesia, along with Gibran Rakabuming, son of former President Joko Widodo, who was elected Vice President of the country. During his swearing-in ceremony, India was represented by Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margarita. Earlier, Subianto had visited New Delhi during his role as the Defense Minister of Indonesia in 2020. According to the Embassy of India in Indonesia, he was the first minister of any country that was received in India during the COVID pandemic. During this visit, Prabowo met with the Defence Minister and National Security Advisor and held extensive talks on various bilateral issues. The BJP on Saturday appointed former Cabinet Minister Ravindra Chavan as its working president for Maharashtra. The announcement was made by BJP National President JP Nadda in New Delhi, the party said in a release. The decision comes ahead of the state BJP executive meeting convened in Shirdi on Sunday. The party's Maharashtra president post is expected to be vacant after 3-year tenure of Chandrasekhar Bawankule. The current state chief ends in August 2025. Bawankule will vacate the post since he has assumed charge as the state revenue minister in the recently formed Maharashtra government. According to sources, Bawankule is likely to continue as the state president till the local body's election in the state, expected to be held in few months. In his first statement following the appointment, Chavan expressed his gratitude and outlined his vision for the party's future. Chavan thanked both the central and the state leadership of the BJP for entrusting him with the critical position, emphasizing his commitment to the working and the welfare of the people of Maharashtra.
कल ही मेरी पार्टी के कार्याध्यक्ष पद के लिए नियुक्ति हुई है और कल भी मैंने साईं बाबा का दर्शन लिया था। आज फिर एक बार साईं का ये बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है। ये जिम्मेदारी निभाने के लिए साईं के चरणों में नतमस्तक होने के लिए फिर एक बार जा रहा हूँ। मुझे पूरा यकीन है आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री देवेंद्र जी के नेतृत्व में पूरे महाराष्ट्र में जनता की सेवा सरकार के माध्यम से और संगठन को इकट्ठा लेकर हम अच्छी तरह से करेंगे।
महाराष्ट्र में पार्टी को मजबूत करने के लिए किस तरह से काम किया जाएगा आगे आपके नेतृत्व?
ये तो महाराष्ट्र के कार्यकर्ता और पदाधिकारी हम सब लोग मिलकर महाराष्ट्र में सरकार के साथ समन्वय के साथ काम करेंगे।
किसको धन्यवाद देना चाहिए इस मौके
ये
पर?
आदरणीय देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, आदरणीय अमित जी और नड्डा जी, सभी केंद्रीय नेतृत्व और महाराष्ट्र के हमारे सभी के नेता आदरणीय देवेंद्र जी, बावनकुळे जी और महाराष्ट्र के सभी नेताओं ने मुझे ये काम करने का जो अवसर दिया है, मैं उन्होंने जो विश्वास मुझ पर रखा है, मैं नक्की उनके विश्वास को पात्र होने की कोशिश करूंगा।
There Chavan appointed as the new working president. For more news, keep watching Hornbill TV.
कौन
साइड देना।
कौन हो भाई आप लोग?
इस दीवार पे कितना डैम्प है यार, पिलर में भी फ्रैक्चर।
छत पे इतनी सारी